Pull up a chair and buckle up. It's the Original Strength BodCast. Hey guys, and welcome to this week's edition of the Original Strength BodCast. This week on the podcast, I've got a Q&A, and before we get started with that though, I'm going to share something that brings me joy. As it turns out, I've been enjoying a lot of the stuff that I've already shared with you, so I don't really have a lot of new joy-bringing things to share, except this one thing that I accidentally discovered. So when I was a kid, I grew up off of, simple things like sliced cheese. I loved it. I ate it on everything. And last week or a couple weeks ago, maybe, I was making scrambled eggs, and I wanted to put some cheese in them to, give them a little spice up. And so I reached into the refrigerator, and well, lo and behold, there was a container of sliced cheese that my son had wanted me to get for some hamburgers. So I opened up one of those nice slices of Kraft American cheese, and I stirred it into my scrambled eggs and put some salt in there. And I got to be honest with you, I absolutely loved it. I didn't expect it to like it that much, but I liked it so much that now it's a thing that I just like to do. So it's not a huge thing that brings me joy. It's not like, putting sour cream in yogurt or anything like that. But I don't know, it just hit me just right. Anyway, if you've never made scrambled eggs or an omelet with sliced American cheese, you may be missing out on something you really want to try. All right, so that's it for my thing that brings me joy. And now for the Q&A. I'm going to go with the easy question first. This question comes from the Unbreak Gamer. And he writes, "Hey Tim, got a question for the podcast." Thank you very much, because I think you were the first to actually ask a specific question for the podcast, and I really appreciate that. That's kind of fun. So here we go. What kind of barefoot shoes do you use and recommend? I've seen you walk around in those shoes on your videos, and my old ones are falling apart. Thank you, Unbreak Gamer. So I've made a lot of shoe reviews on the YouTube channel. Most of those shoe reviews, most of them have been on Zero shoes. I like Zero shoes because they're minimalist shoes, and they are very wide toe box and let my foot spread. So I'm just going to span the gamut here real quick. Love Zero shoes for specific things. I train in them. I don't really like to go for long walks on hard surfaces like concrete. My favorite pair of Zero shoes would probably be the Speed Force. I think it's the name. Actually, no, they're very comfortable. They're almost like socks with a little bit of sole protection. Sole being SOLE. I guess they could protect your sole if you loved. I don't know. Anyway, but I like the Speed Force. Very, very comfortable. Very light. You don't even know you're wearing them. So I like those. My next favorite pair is going to be the HFS version of the Zero shoes. There's HFS and HFS2. I will tell you that I got the most durability out of the HFS. I just had to throw away a pair of HFS2s that I really haven't had that long, but I had kind of worn through them. So, and they just brought the HFS back, so that's why I'm letting you know. If it is the same HFS that used to be, for me that was a more durable shoe. Now, I also, I'm a fan of Ultras. So I like to run sprints. And in my neighborhood, well, I'm running on asphalt. And that's where I like to separate myself from the Zeros a little bit, because I've got bony feet. So I like a little bit of extra cushion. And the Ultras are also zero drop, and they have a super wide toe box, and they allow my toes to spread, but they give me that extra cushion for running sprints on the asphalt, and I really appreciate that. If I were running sprints in the grass, I would still wear my Zeros. I do still wear my Zeros for things like that, or I go barefoot. Now, I will tell you, I have a new pair of shoes that I truly do like, and they're called Flux shoes, Flux, and I have the Flux trainers. They look kind of old schooly, almost like Converse, but man, they're so comfortable. They have these little massage beds in them. It's just like walking on acupressure heaven. It's amazing. So those are my these are the shoes I wear every day. I wear Zeros, I wear Ultras, and I wear Flux on any given day of the week. Those are my top brands of shoes, and I do recommend them if you If you like wide toe boxes and flexible feet, those are great shoes. As far as my experience goes, none of those companies are paying me to say this. I just like those shoes. Also, I do like Sanooks, which are like surfing sandals. And it's also just cool to say Sanook. It's like kind of like saying, how you doing, Sanook? So anyway, all right, enough of that. Those are my shoe recommendations. Oh, I did want to tell you guys, this is kind of wild, but I made a video, I don't know, about 11 years ago about Hindu squats. And Joe Rogan actually had that video on his show one day and made that video very, very popular. And that video for over 11 years has been just churning, which is so neat. So like if you Google Hindu squats, my video is like, if it's not today, it has been for years, the first video that pops up. So apparently the Undertaker just did a podcast talking about the Hindu squats, and it drove people to that video again. So guys, thank you very much for checking out that video. It's really neat to see something that I made so long ago just still be useful, and like and that's the video that everybody comes to the channel about. It's kind of wild. All right, sorry about that little interlude. Now back to the Q&A, and this one is more complicated. So here we go. This question comes from Noah V. And Noah writes, hey man, could you do a video or a podcast on exercising or techniques to rehab sex life? A lot of men in niche communities seem to have pelvic floor dysfunction stemming from too much sex or PO. I should have probably looked up PO before I did this question. Hold on, here we go. But anyway, it might be indirectly or there might be neurological things going on, but there's something to explore there, and I'd like to see more info and see if you could look into that. So I just mentioned that the Hindu squat video. Hey, Noah, thanks for the question. I just mentioned that the Hindu squat video is like one of the most popular videos on my channel by far over the years. But next to that, like second to that, would probably be my videos on the pelvic floor health. I've got at least two videos about pelvic floor health. And the easiest way to restore your pelvic floor is to approach it the way you built it to start with, the way you did as a child. And mostly you did it learning how to breathe and learning how to move and just really living in your design. So Noah, the very first place I would start beyond looking at those videos, and if you just go to the YouTube channel and type in original strength pelvic floor, these videos are going to pop up. I would start there, especially the level 1. But there's other things to think about. So what's really cool is everybody loves Viagra because, well, what I mean to say is a lot of guys like Viagra because it helps them out, helps them, stand strong. So, but Viagra, the reason it works is because it's working on the nitric oxide channels. So it's like a vasodilator, and it puts blood in places that maybe don't get blood flow. So the coolest thing about that is that our body makes nitric oxide, but we don't, if we're not breathing properly, we're not getting that nitric oxide into our system. And nitric oxide is so important for blood vessel health, for heart health, for brain plasticity. But we make nitric oxide in our sinus cavities, and the way we get it into our body is to breathe in through our nose. And I'm telling you that because if you're a mouth breather, and I'm not saying you are, but if you're a mouth breather, you're bypassing your nitrous oxide delivery system. So you're missing out. And not only are you missing out on brain health and heart health and blood vessel health, but there's blood vessels in your lower parts, in your pelvic floor region that maybe need extra help and extra pliability from the nitric oxide. And then if the pelvic floor is compromised, then again we want to start with breathing. Period. So breathing is like it's like the blanket answer, but there's many reasons for that blanket. Like one, the diaphragm and your pelvic floor are supposed to rhythmically dance together. If the diaphragm's not doing its job, the pelvic floor it's going to struggle, because those two twins are supposed to be, simpatico and working hand in hand. So if somebody's not playing the game right, somebody else either has to pick up the slack or they just fall apart. So we want to make sure we're breathing properly, like filling our lungs up from the bottom to the top, using our diaphragm the way we're supposed to. But again, we still want to breathe the way we're designed, with our tongue on the roof of our mouth. So this is kind of wild, but your tongue and your vocal cords, they're diaphragms too. And when all of our diaphragms are working together, like our throat diaphragms, our breathing diaphragm, and our pelvic floor diaphragm, when all of those are working well together, we just function better globally as a whole. Everything just works better. And so what you need to know is that everything does affect everything, which means one thing does affect everything too. So if your tongue's not where it belongs, or you're breathing in through your mouth, that could be the one thing that's affecting the everything, and especially the thing you want to be healthy as possible, right? So it does start with breathing in your design, in and out through your nose, tongue on the roof of your mouth, making sure you're filling your lungs up from the bottom to the top, and then moving. So sometimes stress does weird things to the body. Movement is one way to combat stress, but sometimes people have trouble standing up strong because of the stress load that's on their bodies, and maybe their stress is so high that they're living in fight or flight. Their sympathetic nervous system is all out of whack, so their hormones are out of whack. Their adrenaline's up, their cortisol's up, their testosterone's low. Could that play a part in it? Yeah, absolutely could. You know how to get your autonomic nervous system shifted back into parasympathetic state so you can rest and digest and procreate? It would be, you start with breathing again. So breathing is just like the place to start. And then there's other reasons that could, like there could actually be a blood vessel issue, which means there could be a heart issue, which means that's a very, very big health issue. And so I would say it's always good to get a physical and just make sure that your insides are good. Because if your heart's compromised, it's going to compromise other areas of your body. And sometimes, guys, not being able to stand strong down below is a sign. It's like the canary in the coal mine. It's a sign of a bigger problem on the inside that really needs attention. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes it could just be stress. Sometimes it just could be your diet. And sometimes it just could be because you're not breathing right. But if things aren't working the way you want them to, it's worth seeing your trusted healthcare provider or friend and making sure your insides are good, your heart is good, your blood vessels are good, and that your hormone levels are good. So Noah, I hope that helps somewhat. My first suggestion again is look at those videos and just remember how to live and breathe in your design. And I think that will go a long ways. There have been so many people comment on that in those videos, and the things that they have said, the feedback they've given, I'm just going to put it up there as miraculous information. It's amazing how when you start breathing and moving and living in your design, how your design starts to heal and take care of itself. So I would say that if anybody's listening, if you got something in your body that isn't working the way you think it should, don't give up. If it's standing to attention, you may be able to address that yourself. And even if you can't and you need outside help, your body's designed to heal. It's designed to course correct. So just keep looking for solutions if these videos don't help. But just consider nitric oxide delivery system, your sinuses, make sure you're breathing in and out through your nose, make sure your tongue's under your mouth. I know I've said that repetitively, but it's that important. It's everything, it's life. Your breath is the breath of life, literally. It influences and affects everything about your body, from how your genes express themselves to how your blood vessels operate and function. It's everything. All right, guys. I think that was my 2 questions for the day. guys, I really appreciate you writing in the questions specifically for the podcast. This is really cool. It's a lot of fun. And if you have questions out there, if you're listening, and if I know the answers, I'll try to help you best I can. If I don't know the answers, I'll actually try to find them and help you as best I can. I'm gonna go look up PO now because I got to figure out what that means. Noah, thank you very much. Ungame Breaker, thank you very much. Unbreakable Game, thank you very much. All right, guys, I am Tim with Original Strength on the Original Strength podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Now go, press reset, and then get outside and play.